Hey everyone, welcome to the moon forecast. This is for the full moon we have coming up in Libra, happening on April 5th. If you're in the Pacific time zone area, it's coming. The peak of the energy is happening at about 9:34 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, and on April 6th, if you're on Eastern, at 12:34 a.m. So keep that in mind with your time zone. You can always look it up and see where it hits you. This moon is really all about, we have Aries energy, and that is all about the self. And that is because the sun is actually in opposition to the moon at this time. And the sun is hanging out in that Aries energy about the self. We're really passionate about what we want to do and bring into this world. And then we have the moon sitting in Libra, and that is all about relationships with others. And this moon is about creating the duality between both ourselves and what we want and what the needs of others are in our lives. So let's get this kicked off. I'm Kendall. I'm with the Bohemian Tarot Girl and Wild Reawakening. This is Echo, the Astro Pup. She's helping out. And then Amy, give a shout out for yourself.
Hi, I'm Amy. I'm an intuitive energy coach and Moon Circle leader with Wild Reawakening. And so we are getting together once again to talk about this energy coming in with the moon. And this moon, well, if you watched our last video for the Aries new moon, we were talking about how we're like launching off on this new path, that there's going to be kind of this excitement that's building towards a new direction that we're going in, and we may not know where it's leading to, but to really trust your intuition. And it was this really like bold, inspiring energy to kind of look at and to move towards. And then we have this Libra moon coming in, and when we have things that are in opposition, they tend to have very opposing energies, obviously. Aries is very it's the self. It's the first sign of the zodiac. It's all about being bold and self-focused, and it's very direct and charismatic and independent, and which is a really needed energy when you're navigating your life, obviously. But then you have this Libra aspect that is coming in and shining a light on that, and it's really emphasizing how you collaborate and how you balance things and how you navigate a broader perception instead of just your own needs, but like a broader perception of like your world. And I don't know, like I I love Libra energy. Some people
Me
may
too.
think that they're very yeah, we both have Libra aspects in our chart pretty prominently. So a lot of times Libra kind of gets the rap for being indecisive or for not having an opinion. But really what Libra comes in is that energy is to show a broader perspective on things. Libra likes to look at all angles, that likes to kind of dissect every possible outcome and come to the conclusion after some time and some introspection to see which is going to be the most beneficial or which makes the most sense.
Fair.
And it is ruled by Venus, whereas Aries is ruled by Mars. So we do also have that duality of the masculine and the feminine energies. And so this moon is really a chance to highlight like where you find balance in your life. Where are your relationships out of balance? Where are you prioritizing your needs instead of looking at what can be beneficial to everyone? And finding some sort of mid ground so that it's more cohesive and more in alignment and more centered and grounded. And really, I don't know, when you have energies that are balanced, it's so much more beautiful.
I
But that's also Libra. I mean,
Yes.
Libra wants everything to be fair and equal and, you know.
No, I love that, that combination that we have with that Mars. And you think about when we look at the charts and we're looking at finding what we want masculine or that masculine energy to be, and then what we want feminine energy to look like. And the fact that that is, we're seeing the, both sides of those come into this picture during this time. I mean, there's a good chance that we have a lot of, pieces about relationships, especially like romantic relationships, coming into play with this moon. So if you're finding that, we had this first quarter moon, it came in Cancer, and it was a lot of that emotional energy. And we're recording this, and it's just kind of just happened. And I can tell you, even in my life, there's just been some family things that have happened that are just sad, and it's part of life. And but it came up during this time. And so if you've had any kind of, conflict or sadness that came in during, this last quarter moon with a family member, this is a time where you can actually find a balance and heal whatever needs to be healed during this time. So I love that.
Mhm. This is actually a really healing moon
Mm-hmm.
that we are having. I mean, not only, so Aries is ruled by Mars. Mars is currently in Cancer, which is the mother energy. It is very emotional. It doesn't necessarily like to be in Mars, but the planets go through every single sign, so we're going to get a different experience with each one. But it's also like we have these other aspects. We have Sun is conjunct Chiron right now in Aries, and that happens one time a year. So this is a really important time to look at that aspect as well. Chiron is the wounded healer, and the thing about Chiron is that we tend to look at wounds as being something that we don't want, or that we look at as being bad, or that kind of lowers our energy. The point of Chiron coming in and its full energy around it is that, yes, you have this deep wound that you may have experienced, but it's this transition through the healing process. And when you get on the other side of that, then you're now the healer. And what I mean by that is that you now have this experience, and you now have this wisdom, and you have this deeper insight into that experience, so that you can help others navigate that as well. It can also bring in different aspects of yourself that you may not have realized that you possessed. It can show you where your strength is. It can show you where your vulnerability is. It can show you where you have more compassion. And so you can take that experience, if you're willing to go through the process, and become better and become beneficial take your experience and be more beneficial to those around you, or those who seek wisdom and guidance. Take a look at where Chiron is in your chart, but also take a look at where it's transiting right now, which house that is in, because that'll show you an area of your life where maybe it felt really hard at one time, and you're going through this process of recognizing how you're able to transmute that energy into something more positive. So it really is like this journey that everyone goes through in different aspects. But it's here to illuminate parts of yourself that you may not have known existed unless you went through this. And so the Sun being in conjunction, it's really wanting you to take a look at not only your personal journey, but also how far you've come in your own evolution through your process.
I mean, this moon in itself, especially for the cardinal signs, and remember, cardinal signs are Aries, Cancer, Libra, and Capricorn. There is a lot of revelation for those people about their independence and the relationships that are playing in their lives currently, and what they know that they need to bring in with that new form of independence that they're really trying to seek in becoming their greater self. So if you're a cardinal sign, this energy can be really strong with you, that ability to seek what you really want, and also try to navigate that plane with the relationships. We have Mercury in Taurus sextiling Saturn in Pisces, and that one is really good for communication and your career and really doing that long-term planning. So we have a lot of energy. We also have Mercury sextiling Mars, and Mercury, once again, is in Taurus, and that's like stability, right? It's giving you the stability and confidence to talk and speak about what you want and what you need with those people in your life. So if you utilize this energy that is being provided by the other planets, it's really going to help you be able to assert what you need and want with the people in your relationships while being still in balance and making sure that you're not, kind of running over them. You're not, trying to, wipe away what their needs and wants are. It's really about coming together.
We currently have Venus in Taurus, which Taurus, is ruled by Venus. So it's a really compatible energy. And I mean, Venus energy, who doesn't love Venus energy? It's the love, it's your creature comforts, it's the beauty in the world. Like Venus is just my favorite planet, but I'm a Taurus, you're a Libra, so that explains a lot. But it's also sextiling Neptune and Pisces. So we have a lot of this really beneficial fluid energy between the planets right now, which is emphasizing all of this healing that we're going through with this moon and the positive aspects of relationships. And so Neptune sextiling Venus right now, it's really focusing on your relationships, your love that you have in relationships, but it's kind of a deeper aspect because Neptune, as we know, is like all about spirituality and intuition. And so there can be kind of a karmic connection to relationships. It can be a spiritual aspect that may be coming in. There's just this deeper intuitive energy that is coming into play with your relationships. But Neptune also, because there's two sides to everything. Neptune can also distort things, and it can make you have a little bit of disillusionment or be disillusioned or not being able to see things clearly. So it's a good time to really take stock of your relationships or the people in your life or the connections that you have, and pay attention to whether or not these relationships are helping you move forward on the path that you want to go on, or if they're hindering you from fully becoming who you want to be. Because it can really be a time when you want to see things a certain way and it's not the reality of how they are, or you might be making excuses instead of looking at the situation clearly. So just pay attention. I mean, it could be a really good time for starting new relationships. It could be, you might find people coming into your life who you feel like you've known a long time. But just make sure that you're looking at it a little objectively during this time, because it's really easy to get swept off your feet.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. I mean, and the whole energy with the full moon, I like to think of the full moon as, okay, we've had the new moon, so we've planted the seeds. We've had, the first quarter moon, and we've seen life spring forward. And now we're at the point of the full moon. And that is when I say we are weeding the bushes, right? Like, so we're going through and kind of cutting out things that we don't need and letting them go. And so this full moon is really about releasing relationship issues, right? And reflecting on things that might be hurting our own heart and hurting, others that we're dealing with, and making sure that you're reflecting on this and writing it down. And then if you're coming to a point where you need to release it, go ahead and let it go, because you don't want to carry that with you with your new self as we move into this portal with the next new moon. So
yeah, because even though we are connected to other people, this is still a personal journey.
yes.
And so it's really important that you are taking care of yourself first and recognizing what is in alignment and what fits and what doesn't. And sometimes letting things go that aren't fitting is not only a compassionate act for yourself, but it can be compassionate for others as well.
100%.
Recognizing when that needs to happen and then having the ability and the courage to do it is important. So
I love that message. Do you have anything else to add before we wrap it on up?
Well, when we were coming in and we were talking about this moon and kind of gathering what all the energies were at play here, this moon just feels, I mean, not only is it healing and not only is there a lot of love involved, but it's also kind of a pause before we start really rapidly transitioning into some more intense energy that's coming up the end of the month. We do have the solar eclipse happening. It's happening. It's kind of a weird one because it's right on the cusp of Aries and Taurus. So it almost hits both energies, which is really unique. That doesn't happen very often. But it's the first eclipse that we've had in the sign of Aries in 9 years. So that is opening up a whole other portal of energy that we haven't experienced in a long time. And then we also have another eclipse, a full moon eclipse in Scorpio in May. And so that's like closing out another cycle. And so there's just going to be a lot of shifting over the next month or so with these energies that are really coming together to kind of really propel things forward in a new direction. So I would suggest just with this moon, really taking the time to allow yourself to settle into this kind of tranquility. This feels like a much more calm moon than we've had in a while. So harness that, do your inner work, pay attention to your healing, pay attention to what's feeling good for you, and let go of things that don't, because you don't want to take them on this next journey.
No, you don't.
It's going to be hard carrying around all that extra baggage.
Yeah. You want the right people, you want yourself in the right place. You got to do it, make it happen.
Exactly.
All right, everyone. Well, thank you for joining us on this moon forecast. We'll definitely see you next time for the next moon. Remember to like and follow us. Follow us at Wild Reawakening. We'd really appreciate it. We're on Facebook and Instagram, YouTube. Please like and subscribe. I appreciate it. I hope everyone has a great full moon. Bye, everyone. Welcome to the Wild Reawakening podcast. Hosts Amy Eminette and Kendall Evans take you on a journey to learn empowerment by accessing your intuition and reawakening your wild self. Remember, this podcast is for entertainment purposes only and does not constitute any medical or legal advice. Make sure to like and follow the Wild Reawakening podcast and stay connected with us at Wild Reawakening on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. Visit wildreawakening.com. Join us in building a community of healing and connection. Get started today on your own path to a wild reawakening.